I've been having this vision. I've been having this vision. Either rise or you fall. I'm on a mission, bringing my dreams to fruition. I ain't playing at all. Bring out the body bags, I'm about to kill them, deliver them to the mortician. I gotta do what I gotta do. That's for my fish, back in my face. I gotta do what I gotta do. I pray to God, he never came. I'ma do me, I'ma do me. That's in my blood, I never change. That's in my blood, I never change. That's in my blood, I never change.
Great to have your company for the Corona Post Show. What an epic day, the opening day of competition, day 2 of the event window. Ronnie Blakey with Laura Enever and Peter Mel. Laura, your thoughts on what was an action-packed day?
Well, I've been saying wow all day. I think a bit too much, so I'm going to have to find a different word for wow, but it was very, very exciting. And yeah, what a day. This is my first time in J-Bay. I think I've said that 100 times too, and it has not disappointed.
Pete, some big heats, some huge opportunities for some competitors too.
Yeah, I mean, you think about this last run here for the Final 5, and this is an important event for that. You've got a lot of surfers that are sitting right there on that cut line. They need to make it. So some big performances had to happen. We had some surfers in the elimination round in the women's side that were able to get through and some that didn't.
Yeah, we're looking forward to taking a deep dive into that. But right now, let's have a look at all the highlights from an action-packed opening day here at the Corona Open J-Bay, starting with the first excellent score of the contest. Carissa Moore comes in here as the #1 seed. She's already clinched her spot in the WSL Final 5, but she wants to go into those finals as the #1 seed, and she just looks so strong. Typical power on show from the Hawaiian as she blitzed the long open walls here at Jeffreys Bay, and still some texture on that first couple of heats of the morning. It didn't bother Carissa, the 5-time world champion. She was dominant in her first performance in the opening round. The local crowd ate up the performance of Matthew McGillivray, and he had a really tough draw, but he was on the attack, super explosive in the pocket. Great variation in his surfing, and with every move, the crowd lit up and they got right behind him as he looked to overcome the highest scoring surfer not to progress directly through to the round of 16. Griffin Colapinto would have won every other heat, bar heat 3, where Jack Robinson put up 15 points, but he is looking so on point. The current world #4 coming off a couple of big victories this year, but Matthew McGillivray too strong. Jack Robinson, what a magic run he's been on, and he is seriously connected with this wave. He got pushed by the wildcard Luke Thompson in the opening round, but held his nerve, and in the final stages tapped into this ride, got himself a couple of brilliant barrel rides, and got the number he needed to get the jump on the South African and earn his place in the round of 16. He is so nervy and so solid. Nat Young had a really tough opening round draw up against the current world #1, Filipe Toledo, a man who's been on absolute fire, dominating at each of the venues, but Nat's got that powerful backhand approach, and he put up an excellent score against Filipe, backed it up with a 6.33, and he definitely engaged the crowd with these big, powerful backhand blasts. Just love the way he floats through these maneuvers and hanging on to an important finish there. Kelly Slater makes his competitive return here at Jeffreys Bay after skipping a couple of events. And he had moments, flashes of brilliance, but Slater was ultimately overcome by Miguel Pupo and Connor O'Leary, who just looked so strong on the backhand. But Slater, he's going to have a lot of room to improve. Great finish there and some real positive signs. But what about this guy? The big goofy footer from Australia, really laying into some huge turns, finishing off his heat beautifully to turn it in the dying stages. Johanne Defay got pushed into the elimination round and the pressure was on. Obviously she has an opportunity at this stop to clinch her spot, and with this surfing she was able to do that, getting into the quarterfinals. She hasn't missed a final series all year, and she is going to be warming up as she moves into those quarterfinal clashes. But Johanne Defay just always confident, and she looked very sure-footed when she took to the water in the opening round and also that seeding round. It was a big recovery. Tyler Wright, she is back in the jersey and really looked comfortable. It was a slow heat. Lakey Peterson never really got the opportunity to get going, but Tyler, she got the work done on an opening wave. It was the board that she rode to victory at Bells Beach, and she ended up breaking it in this heat, but she's got a good backup under her feet, and she'll have a fantastic opportunity to go on to a big finish here at the Corona Open J-Bay as we take a look at the quarterfinal bracket. Incredible matchups. We're going to be really taking a close look at those. But for more highlights, athlete updates and full heat replays from the Corona Open J-Bay, go to worldsurfleague.com. Whew. Man, oh man, there was some amazing performances, some great surfing on show today, and now we're going to get that opportunity to have a really close look at it, Pete. But yeah, super impressive, I think, what we saw from the competitors, considering that they didn't get a lot of clean face to work with in the lead up to today's action.
That's true. You know, not a lot of practice time. We went straight into day one of the waiting period. Not a lot of surf there. We didn't even run heats at all. And then now into day two of the waiting period, we ran all day long. There was literally, 30 minutes of practice time this morning, and then now probably another, 20 minutes, unless you're going to surf in the dark. You know, it's not a lot of practice time.
Dimity Stoyles here, she did that yesterday. She came in, it was pitch black. But let's talk about the opening heat of the men's round. Unbelievable, Laura. Matty McGillivray, you know, he really did come out of his shell. He's a quiet, shy kid, but he is making a lot of noise with his performance today.
Yeah, Matty McGillivray, it was such a special performance. When he had that huge result at Margaret River to make the cut, all he said was, I just want to surf at J-Bay. That was his motivation, and didn't he come out today and absolutely flare?
He said it with tears in his eyes too, didn't he?
He did. It was so special for him to be able to make that cut. He just wanted to be here in front of his home crowd. Just seeing him surf this wave, the tempo, the speed, and, you know, the preciseness of him and his turns, he can just stay so tight in the pocket, and it's just unbelievable and so exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was a good comparison too, wasn't it, Pete? Because Griffin had those big, clean calves.
Of the day, I mean, this heat was the highlight. It was the very first of the men's round, and the performance put on by Griffin Colapinto, as well as this man here, Matthew McGillivray. He was in the pocket. Didn't see any surfing like this later in the other rounds. It was really, you know, there were some highlights. I guess Nat Young was one of those surfers that got in the pocket pretty well. But overall, this was the highlight for me. Matthew McGillivray was on fire. Yeah,
highest heat score total of the day, 15.33. Just loved how on the attack he was. You know, I think there can be a lot of pressure on the hometown hero sometimes, and, you know, considering that he hadn't really had an opportunity here at Jeffrey since 2017, he turned up in a big way. So did this guy.
Yeah, well, and Griffin was reviewing this heat right after it. Literally was in the Red Bull athlete zone, had his phone out and reviewing this heat because he felt like he surfed a solid heat. And, you know, he kind of asked me what my thoughts were, and I was just like, hey, it felt to me like you surfed amazing, but really what the difference was Matthew McGillivray was pressing. He was really pushing everything into each and every turn, just a little bit more than Griffin was. Griffin had that silky smooth approach, was on really good waves, but that little extra press that we saw from Matthew was definitely evident.
Exactly. If you're just looking at highlight vision of these guys, you take the jerseys away. Griffin had a bit more time between his turns, and he did flare up with that great style, that classic clean rail turn that he's got. But this is a criteria that these guys are surfing to, and you've got to get those big high impact moves done in the most critical section of the wave, and Matthew did that.
He really did, and I think the judges just, you know, loved it. The crowd was just going absolutely nuts, and it was a well-deserved heat win by Matt McGillivray. Just that 8.5 was a really special ride, just amazing.
It was a big morning for the South African spectators, but also surfers, 4 of them competing in those first 4 heats, Pete. Geordie, he had some magic moments. This ride was excellent.
It was, you know, an incredible performance. We expected from Geordie Smith here, especially at J-Bay. But it was good to see that he was able to produce the type of performance that he was able to for the fans, for himself too, because it has been a tough year for him, and having to come to this point and putting it together was great work.
It's so hard to watch that wave of Geordies and think, oh, he got 3rd in the heat, but you know, he did, because this was a hard heat. Italo Ferreira just going absolutely to town. He has had huge results here in the past, and this is why, because he's so dominant and powerful on his backhand. And here comes the heat leader.
All 3 of these guys were on in this heat, and we knew it was going to be close just based on where the numbers went in those opening exchanges, Pete. But Yago, he showed a lot of promise early on, but he just couldn't connect with the set. That changed at the end of the heat.
Right when it needed to, right? I mean, this was the best wave we had seen. I mean, especially for a backhander, nice and tall on the face. It had that perfect pace, and he attacked it. He just straight up into the ball, and it was beautiful stuff there, and ended up getting the win with the highest wave total, or highest actual single wave of the day.
That's right, yeah. Italo fought back in the final final stages. Got that 5.77, just fell short of the required number. But I think all three of these guys have a really good chance in this contest. Looking forward to watching their run through the event. Now getting back to the women's event, Caroline Marks, so great to have her back, especially when you think about Jeffreys Bay. You know, we've been talking about this backhand approach for a while, Laura, and Caroline's just tapped right back into the form that saw her go right to the top end of the ratings in her first couple of years on tour.
Yeah, Caroline Marks that we have always loved is back, and her backside is just on point. And, you know, talking about the goofy footers today, the win was up the face, that devil win this morning, and Caroline was one of the only girls in the first round to connect and be able to go top to bottom and get some big scores. So it was so good to see her coming out of the gates in those first couple of heats and yeah, put up some big scores.
Man, we missed her. She is just such a talent. She came on and she started shaking things up and snatching event wins away from those multiple world champs. And if she can really continue this kind of form with a couple of big sevens, she'll continue to do that here.
And where her seed is one of the things that's kind of messing up the draw as well, considering that she has no points. So she's a low seed and comes in, and she's going to be against all those top contenders, and that's a tough one.
We saw the quarterfinal bracket before. She's going to be up against Carissa Moore, and that's a good test for both the surfers as we get into the elimination round highlights now. Gabriela Bryan, what a run, Pete, for this young rookie. She's just been on fire.
Yeah, and like I said, I was touching on this, her performance in Brazil, saying, hey, we're going to head to J-Bay, and this girl's going to be on fire, and she sure has not disappointed. There was some highlights in her round one heat, but this one, bit of a slow roll. She had the heat previous to this one, so she was able to see there was only 3 waves written in Tyler Wright's heat. So she made the decision to go out there and not sacrifice the size of wave, and she went out early and got that early lead, which was really helpful in this heat.
You think about her performance in the opening round even. She had Carissa Moore. It was unfortunate because she surfed great. There was some real positive signs there, and she's looked sharp in the free surfing sessions too, Laura.
Yeah, she really has, and she's just so excited to be here. She is just showing us time and time again that she is a powerful, incredible surfer and has the competitive strategy and fight to make it to the top.
In those bottom heats of any draw, you know, you're going to see close seeds meeting, and these two are sitting 6th and 7th on the Championship Tour rankings, and Gabriela Bryan's likely going to be making a jump ahead of Isabella now heading into these last couple of stops. It's a huge opportunity for the rookie.
Big time. You know, can you imagine on your rookie year to be sitting into the final 5 at the end of the year at the Rip Curl WSL Finals, fighting for a world title as a rookie?
Yeah, well,
Awesome.
let's hear from Gabriela. She's obviously going to be buzzing. She's with Rosie Hodge.
Well, what a way to finish the day, our rookie Gabriela Bryan, getting that win, an important win for you. How was it out there? Conditions seemed to slow up throughout the day.
Yeah, it was really slow, but it's still so dreamy out there. It's like a dream come true to surf out there, and honestly, just making another heat, I'm just so excited to surf out there again.
And into the quarters, this is so important, and obviously surfing against Isabella, who's just above you on the rankings. Thinking about the final 5 picture, is that factoring in at all for you?
Not really for my performance. I mean, it's in the back of my head. It's hard not to think about it. That's my goal, to make the final 5, and I'm working really hard towards it. And every heat does count now, so more heats you make, the closer you get.
Well, the soundbite from you was that you wanted to make the cut and that you wanted to be Rookie of the Year. You've checked those off the boxes. Did it even come into your mind that you'd be thinking about the final 5 in your rookie season?
Honestly, not really at the beginning of the year, no. I think the cut was more the focus. Like, I want to stay on tour. And because we had such a big rookie class, I wanted to get Rookie of the Year. That is a pretty cool achievement to have now. So, yeah.
Well done on reaching those goals. We can't wait to see what you do in the rest of the year and this event. Thanks, Gabby.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Yeah, she is absolutely, you know, grinning ear to ear for good reason too. It's a magic run, and it's not over, and she's got to reassess her goals now, and the surfing that she's doing, it could see her in her rookie season get a title shot.
Really truly feels to me that she is so excited about just surfing another heat at J-Bay. That's really what it's coming down to, and that's the incentive she needs to win heats. Then keep it up.
Let's talk forecast, Pete, courtesy of Surfline. Obviously, the J-Bay alarm clock kind of got me at about 2 o'clock last night. I could hear waves rolling down the point, and I thought it was actually going to be a little bit bigger, but it was kind of ideal. It was perfect, but there was slow moments.
Yeah, there was, and that's J-Bay, because you got to think about what we're doing. You see how the swells are moving across, you know, from the west to the east, and so it has to kind of come in, and so it takes away a lot of the bulk of the size of the swell to be able to wrap all the way in here to J-Bay. But of course, we've got tomorrow's forecast saying it's going to be bigger, so fingers crossed. Doesn't look like it's pulsing by any means, but I actually think that's actually a good sign as we go through the evening. I think that you know, there's a second pulse. It's going to lift for tomorrow morning, and hopefully at 2 a.m. you get woken up again. Yeah,
well, we had that buoy on the other side of the Cape measuring at about 8.5 meters yesterday afternoon. So we were kind of going, what's going to go down here? But it's going to be great to watch it all unfold, and that forecast is looking perfect. So bring it on. But right now, let's dive into the top 5 moments of the day. There was plenty of highlights. I love seeing the return of Kelly, but he didn't really put it together the way he would have liked, Laura.
Yeah, no, it was so good to see Kelly back here, and the crowd was just losing it. They were so excited to see him here too. And, you know, his board, his equipment looked really cool and, you know, really sparky under his feet. So he was looking loose and just looking like, you know, just he was excited to be back here at one of his favourite waves in the world. And, yeah, racing down the line here, he did a really cool lip line floater here, just hanging on there. But so good to see Kelly back.
That was a really important ride, Pete, when you think about the mindset and the confidence of Kelly moving through to the next round. It didn't go excellent, but it was there. It had great moments. Big finish too. Jack Robinson, what a run he's on at the moment. This was clutch. The pressure was on. The wild card pushed him hard.
Oh, big time. You know, that kid was on fire, and, you know, he had to do it again at the end of the heat. Jack's been given those opportunities over and over and over again in his good run that he's had recently, and he's been able to produce. That's the big part about it. I mean, he did fall short in Brazil on that last-minute heroics that he had there, but here did not disappoint, got it done.
Stephanie Gilmore, you know, at Jeffreys Bay, she's just so fun to watch. This was her best ride. She put together some great scores, Laura, to get the victory in what was a tough heat in the elimination round.
Yeah, and Steph was, you know, she was looking fierce before she went out, but this was a really crucial heat for her, and she was pretty vocal about that. She looked a bit shaky at the start. This was her first wave. She waited over 10.5 minutes for it, but then as we saw her go throughout the heat, we just saw her get more and more confident and just become even more beautiful and just stunning to watch. It was just, you know, there was a wave here that you said was just one of your favourite waves you've seen in a long time out here.
She had 4 incredible rides in this heat, and there was a couple that she didn't really even finish off. So Steph Gilmore's got the potential to turn in those 8-point rides, Pete, and really improve on what she gave us today. Goofy domination in the opening round. Caroline Marks looked really strong, and Tatiana too, flaring up.
Yeah, that's good, because this wave is not easy to surf on your backhand. You know, there is the point of difference that you can have with the backhand. I mean, in exactly the situation here where we saw one of the best waves ridden of the day. It was the best wave ridden of the day, and Yago Dora on the backhand. But look at the choice of this wall. I mean, it's a, you know, double overhead, and the wave was perfectly paced, and it was tall, and he just executed those backside moves solidly, as well as this guy did. You know, and another big number in the exit range. It's been tough for Nat to find excellent rides this season, but he gets to J-Bay. It's not that hard for him.
Well, that's just vintage Nat Young. That's the kind of surfing that saw him go way up the rankings when he first joined the tour. He's back now and really starting to gather some confidence. Connor O'Leary also with a great showing. But the number 1 moment today belongs to Johanne Defay, who was emotional after clinching her spot in the WSL Finals. That means there's only 3 spots left. Laura, you got goosebumps.
I just got goosebumps. You know, this is what she's worked for all year, and she has just shown, you know, such confidence, and just she's risen to another level this year, Johanne Defay. She hasn't not made it past quarterfinal the whole entire year, so to make, you know, to get that win at G-Land, to final at Rio, and to clinch her spot, it's so well deserved.
It sure is, and you think about it, she went into the WSL Finals last year in 5th position. She really wants to elevate that seed heading into that same battle in 2022. How do you like our chances, Pete?
I was just thinking about those quarterfinals. I mean, we popped it up on the screen there. I was trying to look it up on my phone there, but I know that those draws are tough, right? You know, Steffi's got a hard draw.
You want to know?
You know, Carissa has a hard draw.
Joanne's going to be up against Tyler in the first quarterfinal.
Right? So all those quarterfinals are gnarly.
They're going to be fun to watch, as is the rest of this event. Hope you enjoyed today. We're going to leave you with highlights. Tune in bright and early. We'll look to get competition back underway on what could be an unbelievable day for waves.
Full moon.
Welcome everybody back to the shores of Super Tubes Jeffreys Bay.
Stop number 9 on the WSL Championship Tour, the Corona Open J Bay, and everyone's very excited.
4 or 5 foot, maybe some bigger sets as the day goes on, so it looks really good for a competition today.
Risa Hennessy taking off. Nice slice there to get things started. What a battle between Gabriela Bryan and Carissa Moore.
Carissa Moore speeding down the line. There's the hack off the top.
Caroline Marks, here she goes. Boom, in the lip for the first turn. Comes around second, hooking turn. A very strong heat lead for Caroline Marks.
Tati gets another goofy win, straight through to the quarters.
Time now to transition into the opening round for the men.
Here goes J-Bay's very own Matt McGillivray. Big hit that time. The water's still flying.
Again, what a combination on the outside.
I'm so grateful to everyone for coming down to watch. And yeah, let's do South Africa proud.
Geordie Smith is up and riding, folks.
Yago's starting to really throw down some of the best surfing that we've seen in this heat. What a combination. And he celebrates, and for good reason. That was impressive surfing.
All eyes on red. Jack Robinson. Beautiful tube tuck.
And the board control is unbelievable from Jack Robinson. So critical in the pocket, couldn't be any tighter. Beautiful, clinical precision surfing. And well done to Nat Young, deserving of that win.
Look to the lineup for the opening ride of Ethan Ewing, folks.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.